It's the Down to Earth podcast with your host Sean Myrie, and we're here in a studio somewhere. I don't really know, but for the last couple of days, Rusty Jukes has came down here from America, and there are a couple shows that he's been on with other artists. You are a judge today. Could you tell the people like your name and like what you do?
Yes, I go by Pretty Ugly. My friends call me Ugly. I'm an MC producer, based out of Toronto.
So you're based out of Toronto. Like what type of music do you produce?
Like underground boom bap, '90s type hip hop.
So like how long you been doing this? Like
I've been doing the production thing. Um, I started like just before COVID hit, I would say. Before that, I was writing and performing and doing the MC thing, but um, I decided to like let that take a back seat and try out the production thing. And yeah, I've been getting busy for like going really good. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's been going like hard with the beats for like yeah, like 5 years now, and yeah, it's been a lot. I just dropped the album last month, December 23rd, my birthday. It's called The Paperback Prince. I've got like I want to say close to 20 different artists featured on there.
yeah.
I've got people like Ason Eastwood, Pro Dillinger, Ren Thomas, my guys Grime Wave, enough people still.
Yeah, a lot of people on it. So what got you like for example into hip hop?
I was just talking to someone about this the other day actually. Originally, what drew me to hip hop was like beatbox. It wasn't production or MCing. I thought that like I thought beatboxing was just like some gift that some people had or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like I met a kid in high school that could beatbox, and I'd never like seen anything like that in real life before. And like I was super like I couldn't believe it. And yeah, I used to like check out like a lot of beatbox forums, and like I had like a Rozelle CD, and I used to like watch beatbox videos and shit like that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Damn. That's big. That's something different, like, you know.
I'm
Yeah.
not even like the nicest beatboxer, but like that got my attention. Like I was just like, oh my god, like I thought that was like incredible. So yeah,
That's a interesting story. That so it gave you like drawing you to the culture, like
Yeah.
hip hop,
Yeah.
beatboxing. So wait, I know that goes from way back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know your age, but you still look young.
Nah.
Yeah, nah. Okay.
I just turned 37 last
Yeah,
month.
okay, that's good. All right, all right. You're so young, so young.
I don't feel it, but
You don't feel it. So, yo, what's your favorite MC? Some of your favorite MC?
I don't know. I like a lot of I would say more indie artists. Like Copyright is
Yeah, I
a
heard of him.
crazy one. I mean, I like the whole Griselda camp, obviously.
Yeah.
Benny Conway.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just like MCs that like do a lot of wordplay, a lot of punchlines, a lot of
Mhm.
metaphors, like a lot of bars.
But like Styles P.
Yeah, I like Styles P. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Styles P.
Jadakiss. I don't know. It's hard to like have a top five for me or anything, but like, yeah.
So when you listen to hip hop, you really like have like a broad spectrum of like different type of styles.
Yeah,
too?
I would say that like the stuff that I grew up on is like very different from like what I listen to now.
Yeah.
So I grew up near like the border, the Canadian. I grew up on the Canadian side of the border towards Minnesota.
Oh.
So I grew up like on a lot of Minneapolis hip hop.
Mhm.
So like Atmosphere and Brother Ali and Idea and Abilities and like Aesop
Yeah.
Rock and some
They've
very
been
like
around a long time too. They've been around.
yeah, the Rhyme Sayers camp and like the Def
I
Jokes
know. I
guys.
heard of Rhyme Sayers.
Yeah, like a lot of like the really like far out like indie stuff. Like I used to rock with that a lot.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Thunder Bay originally, so there wasn't like a lot of hip hop that influenced me there. And,
Where's Thunder Bay exactly?
So it's like 16 hours northwest of Toronto.
So when you're saying what you're talking about earlier, the other part, the other place, I smoke so much weed. The other place where you before
Like
Thunder Bay.
Minnesota.
Yeah, near Minnesota.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I was talking about Winnipeg hip hop.
Yeah,
the other
I know
day.
a lot of.
Is it
like,
Winnipeg?
artists.
Not Winnipeg is close to Minnesota.
Well,
Is that the
Winnipeg's
part?
like 8 hours from Thunder Bay.
S-
But they might border Minnesota as well. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, because
You can go to Minnesota or you can go to
Winnipeg.
Wisconsin as well. It's
Right?
close by.
Because yeah, that's like going like Winnipeg ways, right? Like that's I don't know, Northwest or shit like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know where you cross from Manitoba border to go to the U.S.
Saskatchewan, I
But
think Saskatchewan is that the province and shit.
yeah, no, Manitoba is the province of Winnipeg.
Manitoba's right next to us.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the shit. What's cold? I think no,
yeah.
no. They
Thunder
have that.
Bay is
Yeah,
like
they
up
have the
there
big
with
lake.
Winnipeg.
They have
Yeah,
that big lake shit
yeah,
in the middle of
yeah,
Yeah, that's what makes it cold, yo.
yeah.
So that's.
Winnipeg's got a dope little hip hop scene up there too. There's some really talented people
I've
up
been
there.
here
Shout
for
out
a
my guy
while
Charlie
too.
Feta. Shout out DJ Cut Down.
Yeah, for a while too. They have
Yeah,
one for a long time.
you
It's
got
just
guys back
never.
in the day like Mood Rough. And
Yes, Mood Rough.
yeah, I mean,
That they're from there, and there's some other. We have some groups, but they didn't get the shine, man. Like you get what I mean? But what's like next for you? You have a project?
so I just released my album, like my production, my producer album, I guess you would say, the Paper Bag Prince. That was just came out like a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of just like riding that wave right now, and like the
You know
response
what?
and feedback has been.
Man, I'm really thinking now, like we're talking about this whole beat thing what we went through today, right?
Yeah,
I know there's other ways how people promote themselves to do production, but this makes me realize that doing production now and with social media, you can make a lot of money from it but having a more relationship with the person who's the customer, not just like selling a beat or I'm selling beats.
yeah. I mean, I
You
think
get
that
what I
like
mean?
just with technology in general and how like much it's advanced over the years, that like a lot of people are producers now. It's
Yeah.
like very saturated versus like in the '90s when you had to like buy an MPC and it cost you like a couple racks,
Yeah.
and like not everyone could unfortunately afford that. You know what I'm saying? And now, like kids could make a beat on an app
Yeah,
on their cell phone.
I
You know,
see
like
it. Yeah.
I literally told the kid at my
Are
job.
you
He said he wanted to get into making beats, and I said download this Koala app. And next thing you know, at lunch break, he's making beats. He never,
Mhm.
it depends. Um, it depends. I think it's not like I don't think that the music. I don't think that it like cheap. I don't think it cheapens the music. I just yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of the thing. Like I use like a machine made by Native Instruments, and yeah, so I've been using that. Yeah, I used to use an MPC back in the day, and now I've been using the machine for like probably 10 years now. And I couldn't do like the FL Studio or the Ableton or the Garage because it's just clicking the mouse. It just like took away from the experience. Just like you know what I mean. So I have to use some sort of hardware. I feel like.
Yeah. So what kind of like who's like we say the most commercial artist you produce for?
Oh, commercial artists. I don't know. Ren Thomas is a pretty big one that's on my album. He's done a lot of work in the past with a lot of big names. Yeah, I would probably say him. He's got a pretty big following in the
What kind of
U.S.
music he
and
does?
like boom bap on like 90s style
Where's
hip
he
hop.
from?
I would
Where's he
say.
from?
I believe he's out of like the Boston area. I want to say. Don't
Boston?
quote me on that. I'm not quite sure where Ren Thomas is from. But yeah, he's a pretty successful artist. I mean, got a lot of talented people on the album, regardless of the success or numbers they do. Though, you know what I mean? Like, there's gems everywhere.
How much track?
12 joints.
12 joints.
Yeah.
They're classic. That's it. Yeah, 12 joints.
I spit on 2 of them. But then the rest of them is just people from all over the place. I got Toronto artists on there. I got some dudes out of New York. I got people from all over.
How long you been doing this?
20 years.
20 years?
Well, I'm from Thunder Bay. I'm from near the Minnesota border. Yeah, that was where a lot of my influence when I was young, getting into hip hop and learning about the indie hip hop scenes of places like Minnesota. It was very different. That was when I was like 15 versus now I'm 37.
You know
so
what?
it's changed a lot.
You know what's so interesting? How you saying like all these artists you worked with on your album, right? And they're doing their thing too, right?
Yeah.
And the stereotype, like maybe we do our research, but they're not promoting what I see on the social media. Artists like you and people like who you know of, but you guys are really professional how you do it. You're really going.
Yeah,
People
I
are
think
going
you
on
need to put.
tours,
Yeah,
recording, and there's these people who they promote out there. I'm gonna be straight up, right?
yeah,
There's these people who they promote out there. They don't do this shit. All they do is go to the studio,
mhm,
record the shit, and
mhm,
that's it. And
yeah,
maybe have someone might be somebody to promote them,
yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah, or whatever.
I think in this music thing, especially as like an independent artist right now, like you have to be, you got to be like a Swiss Army knife.
Uh,
Okay, you got to have different skills and talents
yeah,
that you can
right.
not only help yourself with, but offer to others because that
Yeah,
leads to networking, and that's what I've learned. And that's what I
yeah,
learned with production is that picking up on production and having that ability made me more valuable
mhm,
and made me put me in different places and worked with other people and met other people that I never would have known. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it was a very valuable thing that I learned. I could have just continued rapping, putting out whatever, tracks here and there and stuff like that, and maybe, not connected with half the people that I've worked with today. So,
yeah.
yeah.
There's different doors to go through sometimes to get where
Yeah.
you want to go.
I mean, it could be anything. Like, it could be graphic design. Like, maybe you do album art, but you're also an MC. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
then next thing you know, might do album art for someone. They
It's
find out you
true.
actually rap on this. You know
It's
what I mean?
true.
Like, there's all sorts of different ways to be in this so-called music industry.
Well,
And yeah, you just need.
you,
I think versatility is important.
we mentioned Griselda, right? And
Yeah.
I listened to Griselda too. Also, like,
Okay.
what do you think makes them so different, like, a unique?
Um, you know what? A lot of it, I think, was the tempo
Hmm.
that they chose for like a lot of tracks
Hmm.
was really slow compared to
Hmm.
what I was used to.
Yeah,
Like even when I was starting making beats and doing this, I was like cooking joints at like 92 BPM, 90 BPM, and then I
yeah. I
listen
know what
to
you
joints and
mean.
it's like 65 BPM. That's a big, big difference. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I mean, like shout out to Rock Marcy. Like he's the godfather of that style, I would say. But like it definitely helped them stand out from the rest. But like they're all lyrical dudes, man. Like they're all spitters, and that's not as common to come by these days. Like to me, like
Yeah,
Conway has
man.
bars like nobody. Like
Because
he's
when it's
crazy.
92, you could hear, like, you could listen, you could stretch your words in
Yeah,
a certain way,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's how I would rap. That's how I rap like
yeah.
that.
I found
That's
it.
my tempo, 92.
Yeah, like when I started rapping on the slower beats and stuff like that, I found it difficult at first because as an MC, I always thought that like if the if the joint was that slow, then I have to rap double time over it. You know what
This
I
is
mean?
like a 92 almost.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 92, 90, even to 85, it's like it's a little more comfortable. It's got a little
Yeah.
more bounce to it. But
Yeah.
when you're getting to like 65, 70 BPM, you have to like fill in the blanks. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's different.
But 92, maybe even 80, 80.
Yeah.
It depends how. This is that what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
It's tough.
So you have like a whole bunch of underground artists that you like. A lot of people don't even like know of, but it's like
Yeah.
it's not commercialized.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if it ever will be commercialized. I'd rather it not be
No, you're
commercialized.
right.
I mean, I
I know
like
what you
the
mean.
purity and I like it for what it is. I like the grittiness and I like the, how rugged it is. So
So
like,
how's the support for you as an artist since like these last couple of years recently?
so I'll be honest, like I came back to Toronto, and between 2019 2020, and I came back in with
Mm.
beat production in mind, and yeah, for like the last 4 or 5 years now, I've just been grinding it out and networking and meeting people every day that have the same passion as me.
Mm.
Um, I started like a producer showcase
Yeah,
um, at my homie's bar. We did for a year. Shout out
yeah.
my guy Dan over at
Bless,
Lalo.
bless.
Lalo has since closed. We've had to do our event elsewhere, but it's called the Fresh Produce
Oh
Beatmaker
yeah, yeah.
Showcase.
Bless.
And we had like our first event. I think we had like 20 producers submit beats to be played that night,
Mm.
and people just gather to hear different instrumentals. And like we built like a really solid foundation and a really dope community out of that. And that has been like really inspiring me to like keep going and trying different avenues. I mean, that's another way of networking and meeting new people in this business is, putting on events.
Facts. Because when people come together, like especially for art, where like a lot of people like, um, it makes people get creative and they do network even better, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
we've been networking from we Friday, like for this event,
Yeah.
coming here, meeting you guys,
Yeah.
interviewing, having this experience with Rusty Jux. You know what I mean? He's in the studio right now as we talk.
Just laid down a
You
verse.
know what I mean? Yeah. So, you want to tell the people where to connect with you, all your socials,
Yeah, man.
what's coming up?
You can check me on Instagram, pretty.Ugly. It's pretty DOT-Ugly. Pretty.Ugly.com. Check out my music there. I got merch there. Go check out the paper bag prints on all streaming platforms.
You could give Down to Earth a shout out, brother.
Big shout out to Down to Earth Podcast. You already know.